Founders Space, Mentors and Masters. I'm Captain Hoff, CEO of Founders Space, the leading global startup accelerator. I'm also author of the award-winning books, Make Elephants Fly, Surviving a Startup, and The Five Forces. I want to welcome today Tony DUrso. He is the author of Elite Entrepreneurs. He is also creator of the unique system, the Vision Map, which he'll be speaking about today. And he is host of the Tony DUrso Show, which you may not know it, but it's a popular podcast with over 25 million downloads. So Tony DUrso, welcome to the show. Tell us, in your Vision Map, what are the key things that you tell entrepreneurs that they can do to really make their business take off?
Key thing, Steve, is a real mindset. Now, you guys have heard this probably too many times. It's a change of mindset, but just bear with me right now. You know what a steering wheel is. You know what a tire is. You know what an engine, a carburetor. You know these things, a dashboard, a differential. You've heard these words. You know them. But I tell you, you can't go into a garage right now and build everything from scratch. Yet you've heard these words, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're an expert in them. And in the Vision Map, I cover about, I haven't counted, maybe it's like 9 key words, which become an actual map, from starting with your vision. And I can go in, I can drill down into all of these as well, very, very deeply. But it's your vision. What do you see yourself accomplishing in the next few years? It's sort of like a dream or a movie, or what do you want to see yourself accomplish? And I help put you in that mindset that you actually have accomplished it. And then I go into your purpose and your strategy and your tactical steps and all sorts of things. And it's very, very structured, and following through on that map down to the things you do on a daily basis literally helps you accomplish your vision so much faster. If I could tell you really fast, one of my students, he was doing, Steve, 5 sales a month on Amazon of a health product, 5 sales a month. Okay. In about a month, in the second month of working on just his vision map, he was up to 12 sales a day. That's how powerful this map is.
That's great. Now, can you tell us a few of the little things that this student of yours who learned, took up his sales so much, did to change his trajectory?
Believe it or not, the first thing, and this is at 2 hours a week over several weeks, probably the 3rd week, he really got it and nailed down in one sentence his vision. And again, this is what you see yourself doing in the future, but you turn around and you look back at it as if it's in the past. And what did you see yourself literally accomplishing? Give you an idea of an entertainer. He's out there, he's entertaining, he's autographing, he's on shows, he's, doing the circuit. These are things that you're doing. And this wasn't an entertainer, it was a health product, but he really saw himself and envisioned himself out there and getting the word out on his product and getting people to check it out, like it. And it really catches fire. It's not magic, it's reality. It really works.
So if I'm an entrepreneur, which most of our listeners are, and I want to take something and put it into action today for my business, like I want something solid that I can just act upon, what advice would you give me?
Well, this is not a tease, but I'm rewriting and re-editing the book called Creating Your Vision, which is going to come out on Amazon in the next while. I don't know when, but the shorter version is you could read a book by Jordan Adler, which is called Beach Money. And in chapters 2 or 3, if I could tell a short little story, Jordan Adler was broke, destitute. He was a failure. He was very sad. He didn't have a girlfriend, didn't really have a place to live. I forget the story. It's been a while, but What he did is he went out to the park and he spent hours just writing and envisioning his future and what he really wanted his life to be. And this is very, very powerful. And this is the first step of like my 9 steps because I filled it all in. And he put that all together. And then fast forward, whatever, a couple of years later, Steve, Jordan Adler is moving. Okay. And he runs into that piece of paper that he wrote so many years earlier at the park. And Jordan Adler sat down, got down on the ground, and started crying. Why? Because he was moving into a brand new house. He had the girlfriend of his dreams. And at that time, he was making $100,000 a month just by getting and working on his vision. And just imagine if you just got the rest of the pieces down in terms of your strategy, your tactical, in terms of what to do to make immediate money and what to do on a daily basis. It is super powerful stuff.
That is. Now let's talk about the strategy and tactics. What do you recommend for entrepreneurs? What are some strategies and tactics that really work consistently?
There are so many products and services out there, Steve. It'd be really tough to pick, but just to give the overall structure of strategy, it's sort of like if you're in the military and you realize that, well, if we took this island, it's the corridor or the seaway, and it would help us keep the enemy at bay. That becomes a strategy. And the dictionary says it's basically the identification of long-term or overall aim, and it goes into the means to achieve it. So you want to have a strategy as part of your master plan. That is really, where do you see yourself going? So many people, Steve, just have a mission statement, which by itself is just words on paper and really goes nowhere. Take a look. And I don't mean to be bad or mad or mean. 85% of businesses fail. 75% of new products fail. The SBA says that 50% of new businesses fail. Harvard study says that 3 out of every 4 venture-backed firms fail. Now, I'm going to point that out one more time. A Harvard study said that 3 out of 4 venture-backed firms failed. This is a couple of years ago. The statistics are worse now. Can you imagine getting hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars thrown at your feet and failing? So I hear people, don't just say lightly, oh, if I had $1 million, I would take off with an idea. Even with $1 million, people still fail. You need the whole vision map fully in place, and you need your strategy, your tactical in place so that it really focuses that purpose, that objective, and that vision into where you're going.
So tell us, you have built your show and your brand to become a big success. What were some of the specific things you did that ended up making a big difference?
I don't know at all.
You don't know?
That's my Italian. I did so much. Well, first of all, as an entrepreneur, you get the distinction of working 80 hours a week and having more fun than when you worked 40 hours a week because you're your own boss. So I worked and put in the hours, nights, weekends, whatever I could. That made a difference. And I had my plan. I've been to school. I've learned all these other points about marketing and plans and purposes. And I put it all together in my vision map, and I worked it every day.
Okay.
And I cannot say enough of that, but but there's so many things I learned. I would think if you want some good takeaways, I think one of the biggest things was becoming a secret, getting what I call our secret mentors. I've identified who were the kings and kingpins in my industry. I went to their website. I went to their Instagram. I went to their Twitter. And I tell you right now, and I still do it to this day. And if that person, these are people, Steve, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing. They've got marketing people that are just all they do is marketing. And if their Twitter profile says husband, father, and et cetera, I don't say the exact same words, but I model myself after them, and they change. They change every year or two. They change. They change what's on their homepage. They accent different things, and I follow suit because they have smart people that have told them to do whatever. Or and so learn from these. Get a secret mentor. I still follow people that I followed 6 years ago. They don't know it. I talk about them periodically when asked, but otherwise I try to emulate, that's the best word, what they do that fits me and what I do in terms of for my radio show and so forth.
I think that's brilliant advice. So a lot of people don't do this, but you actually take the time to identify people who've been successful in an area very similar to your own. And then you look at every detail of what they do, like how they do their bio, how they present themselves, where they market, how they market. So you can take advantage of all the learning that they've had and all the money they're spending on their marketing to figure it out and apply it to your own vision.
Oh, absolutely. Including, I take the ones that I like the best that resonate with me, including if one's got a bigger font than I, and I really like this one's secret mentor, I make my font bigger.
That's great. Yeah. So
and it works. It's true.
Every little detail. And you call them secret mentors because a lot of people think you have to go out and get these mentors to commit. But as you and I know, if they're already famous and doing well, they don't have time and they're not that interested. They're being approached every day by so many people. They're not going to actually mentor you, but they can mentor you under your system by you paying attention to everything they do and really learning from what they actually do. So that's great advice. And people could do that with you. They could go to your show now and look at what you do and what you've learned and take that and bring it into their own business.
And as a very fast example, while I also do social media marketing and I've learned a lot about it, when I started following someone on Instagram, because I never cared for Instagram before, I was at about 12,000 followers. Now I'm over 40,000. And all I do is follow and look at what someone else does that I admire and look up to and go, this guy, his marketing people, they're genius. Look at what he's doing. And I try to emulate it, though my Instagram looks nothing like his and the others, but it's the style, it's what they do. It's just how you present yourself, how you carry yourself. And once you do that, you actually start also honing your identity, which I think is really important.
That is great. So on the social media channels, absolutely. Look at the ones you really admire, the ones, and look at how they talk to their audience, their followers, how they project themselves, what they post, what they don't post, and start to learn from that. That's great advice. Now, can you share with us some stories about your life in pivotal situations that really helped you grow as a person and as a business person?
That's probably a tough one. I can say maybe this will help is that my family we were immigrants. I'm Italian. I was actually born in Italy. I grew up in Chicago, though if you're listening carefully, sometimes my Chicago comes out. And back then it was you probably would think it was child slavery, but I started working as a paper route boy when I was 5 years old. And whether it was 32 degrees below zero or the biggest storm ever that's knocking down trees, I delivered newspapers and I learned what it took to make $1. And that really impressed upon me a lot of morals. And for 10 years, I took my money that I had earned as a paper route boy and gave it to my mom to help with the family because she was taking care of 6 kids in the household. My dad was the only income earner at the time. So I just considered it my duty. My brothers did it. I did it. And when you do something like that and you do it to help, in other words, I didn't try to keep the money. I just tried to help. It really kind of sets the stage. And I think that's in my formative years, how I've learned how to respect and value $1. That may or may not be the exact answer you're looking for, but I think that really set the stage for me as a future entrepreneur.
Yes, you were right at the beginning. You had to do it to support your family and grow and help everybody. And I think that's really important to remember why you're doing this, like why you want to be an entrepreneur. So in your vision map, what questions do you have entrepreneurs ask themselves? Like what deep questions?
The first thing is actually not a question. I've mentioned this just earlier quickly, but and I'll go into a question is really starts with the vision. Some people may say you start with the purpose, and I can quickly explain why I think not. But you start with the vision. You start with the dream. Everyone's got a dream. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to open up a car show. I want to have a farm. What's that vision, and what do you see yourself doing and engaging and the activities? And that's the vision. And underneath that is you work out your purpose. And this one's you can really work at it because the purpose is not what people think. The purpose is not to be a billionaire. Tony DUrso, I'm not interested in being a billionaire. If it comes, it comes. It's not where I'm at. It's helping people share, and share the elite entrepreneur interviews and advice and wisdom to my audience. That's what I'm all about. And the purpose is the second thing you work out on your vision map. And that's, who are you? Who are you being? What's the reason? Why do you get up out of bed? Because Steve, face it, every single business, just about, and I'm generalizing, almost 100%, you would think, it starts off, there's no money. Nobody just knocked on the door and said, hey, Tony, here's $1 million. Would you do this new idea? No, it starts with the person wanting to do the new idea, and then money can come later. And that new idea, there's a purpose. There's, why do you get out of bed to do it? And you really got to do a little bit of soul searching to know that it's what you really want to do, as opposed to somebody working a job or a career just for money or something. I'm talking about doing something because it really, it coordinates with you. It helps you be, it helps you almost be more of who you are. Once you really find that purpose, it aligns everything. That's the word I'm looking for. It all goes in alignment with a job or a service or a product you can deliver, and it's on your purpose. You'll do it every day, whether you get paid or not, and hopefully you get paid sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, aligning what you're doing with the things that are meaningful to you in life is so important. I know for myself, because that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. That's what makes it worth doing. And we all know being an entrepreneur is really hard. So if you really don't believe in it, you're not going to go anywhere. I also know you are a marketing expert. So you help people with, all their different marketing needs. Now, can you give our entrepreneurs some tips out there that you've learned along the way?
Biggest lesson I would say I've learned, I remember when it was started with the movie I watched, maybe I was 7 or 8 years old. It had Victor Mature. Don't ask me how I know that, but I think that's who it had. And it was a Roman setting, and these Romans were going here and there and all sorts of things. And the one thing that kept being repeated in the movie was all roads lead to Rome. And it was a cute movie, and I never thought about it until I got into marketing. And here I am seeing people, they've got this website for that, and then they start a book, and then they've got a website, and now they've got a class or a course, and they have another website. And I've interviewed people, and brilliant people. But you know what? Not one person can really do everything. We need a help. We need a team. We need mentors. We need people to work with us. And I've run into so many brilliant people, and they just have different websites for all sorts of things. And that dilutes you, dilutes your brand, dilutes who you are. It bifurcates you. And when I write a book, it's on TonyDUrso.com. When I have a class, it's on TonyDUrso.com. I'm getting over 1 million people a year just to my website. Why would I create another? When you look at it from that point of view, why create another domain and send people brand new somewhere else? Unless you're trying to build up a totally new audience for a totally different, disparate type of topic or category. But for me, if it's all under me and my name and my brand, it should all be there with me. And so think about that when you're coming out with new products. Are you diluting yourself? I know people that early on when I started interviewing, they had 4 different URLs. Really?
Oh, yeah. I know people that do that all the time. And you make a really good point. So many people don't take advantage of where they're already winning. So this, by first of all, focusing and making one thing successful, whether it's your podcast, whether it's a book, whether it's your online business, and then tying everything else you do into that makes all of it more powerful, makes all of it more profitable. But if you start all these separate things, then you're spreading yourself thin across all these different things. And I've seen entrepreneurs do this and they almost never succeed.
So true. Unless it's something totally, completely different and nothing to do with you. If I start a car repair business, I'm just kind of making this up. I love cars and older cars, especially. It would have to be a different site, though I probably would have a link. If I'm the one doing it, that's part of the Tony DUrso brand.
Yeah. And it should be. And also, if you should only be starting a car repair business if your current business isn't really working. Like if if it doesn't tie into it, why would you go do something totally different? You should do something that enhances what's already working. And if what you're doing right now isn't working, then you should just scrap it. That's usually what I say. You should just stop what you're doing, rethink, and start in a different direction.
Do a really good vision map.
Yes, because I think one of the powers of your vision map that you're talking about is that it does tie it all together. It forces you at the beginning to create the whole vision and see how all the pieces fit together.
Absolutely. It's no longer pie in the sky. And just really, really fast. If you start thinking of people you've met in the past that said, oh, I want to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and never, ever realize those plans, those visions, because that statement by itself, it just never went anywhere. But when you committed to a full map, like you're driving to somewhere on vacation and you're taking turns left and right and even going in reverse sometimes, it doesn't seem like you're getting any closer to the destination. But you have a map, you know where you're driving. And the same thing with that vision map. You know where you're driving and you eventually reach your goals a lot faster than you think.
Yep. Well, I hope that our audience can take your advice, follow you. You can be their secret mentor, and they can start to learn what many of the things that you have. So, Tony, before we wrap up the show, can you tell our audience where they can find you?
Simplest way is TonyDUrso.com. You'll find my podcasts. You'll find out about me and about my life and who I am as a person. You'll also find out about my social media marketing services. And we have a new thing coming out, which I've been doing for 5 years now. So it's not new to me, but it's new to the world, where I've been almost, not quite secretly, but I've been donating and helping feed families in the United States and in other parts of the country in poverty areas. I've been helping people that don't have homes. I've even helped some people with surgeries and other things just out of the proceeds, because I'm Italian and my refrigerator's full of food, Steve. My vehicles are gassed up. My wife is happy. I'm not trying to be a billionaire. When I have more than enough, I help. And I am now putting that up on my own website, something I've been doing for years and years and years. And we have fed, my last figure is over 120,000 meals we have passed out and given to kids and to help, as well as shoes and clothing and sleeping bags and toiletries and water and everything else. It's a good feeling just giving back, and I'm doing that, and I'm now letting the world know in bigger way that I'm actually doing that.
I hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. You can help us create more great content by subscribing and sharing. Also, if you want to access our online startup program, our investor network, and our entrepreneur resources, just come to founderspace.com.